Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode with Tim and Golf Cart Garage. Let me check over here on Facebook. Looks like we're good. Hopefully my internet will make it. I'm on my regular internet today, which is not really what I like to use, but I forgot. Let me hear from everybody in Florida, by the way. If you're in Florida, I want to hear from you after Milton has passed through. I'll run these social media links. Please follow us on YouTube and Facebook. We are live. We go live every Tuesday on YouTube and Facebook. We're live right now on October the 15th at 12 noon Central Time. Every Taco Tuesday we go live, so remember that. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook, but you can also follow us on other platforms. I'm running the social media links there. I tell you what, that was a bad one, that hurricane. I'll tell you what I know. I know Kurt, his place took a direct hit. I know that because that's where the hurricane hit, landfall, at Kurt's house. I know that Kurt made it because I got my wife to snoop around Facebook and she found some posts that he had posted on Facebook. So I know that he made it through, but he doesn't have electricity, so I don't even know if he's going to show up today or not. But I don't know any more than that. He's not, and he wasn't sure about his house and his property. So I'm not sure what all he lost, and he was looking into that. This was just a post he made just recently to some of his friends on Facebook. Let's see. So Kurt, if you're here, let us know, but I do know that you made it. That's all I know, though. Galactic Technologies, what's going on, brother? Ricky Smith, Gene Hansen, 50 in Michigan, Helpless in Arkansas, and Cabot in my area. Yeah, it's nice weather out there now. Greg Elliott, hello, Tim. Kurt, hope you're okay and still have your cart after the storm. Yeah, I know Kurt made it, Greg, but I'm just not sure about his property, and he wasn't sure when he made those posts on Facebook either. Hey y'all, 53, Mike Irvin, cloudy in Southwest Indiana. Kevin Sawyer, good afternoon, fellow callers. 49 in Northwest Indiana. Oh yeah, that's a nice brisk 49. Sunny days here in Detroit. Stephen Kuhn, greetings from Barth, Florida. All right, Stephen, I'm glad you're all right. Rich Eastmain, hello everyone. It's 60 and sunny looking over the Chesapeake Bay in Machipongo, Virginia. AA Ron G, I just sent before and current picture on Facebook Messenger. Still not done doing some work though. Okay, man. Happy Tuesday, Craig. What's going on? Going good, Daniel. Everything is good with me, man. Thanks for asking. 49 in Central Indiana. Let me check Facebook. Larry La Cucaracha. What's going on, Larry? On Facebook. And Daryl Kimbler. Hey, Tim, checking in. Thank you, Daryl. Thank you for stopping by. Tim Keck, 51 here in Northeast Alabama. Thank you for joining us, Tim Keck. Appreciate it. Missed the last two shows, John Shear. That's all right, man. Ron Bush, greetings from Peoria, Arizona, sending support to Florida friends. Ron Bush. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to hear from Kirk, but that doesn't necessarily mean bad news because I do know Kirk made it. But he did take a pretty much direct hit at his property. So we'll find out when he gets his electricity back how much he lost or what he lost. All right. Let me get started with these regular questions today. I'm sure we'll get some more from the group. But anybody in Florida, talk to me. Nate Medlin, Tim, I enjoy my golf cart. My email is full. I've missed the last several shows. I'll go back and watch the videos. All right, Nate. Yeah, I think the last email I got from you, Nate, it showed that you had your Navitas controller, your big torque motor, and everything was working good, I believe. Pretty sweet setup. You need to send me some more pictures of when, of the completed project. Uh, I don't think I showed your pictures, did I? I don't remember of your rattlesnake and your and that Navitas controller. Last show Tim was doing kung fu. All right. Number one, first question. This is from Brandon. Can I use a 48 volt 18 amp golf cart charger in lieu of my broken 48 volt 17 amp charger? I own a Star golf cart. Sure you can, Brandon. The 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 amps is not as important as the volts, as long as it's a 48 volt charger. Now what the amp rating does, if it's bigger, higher amp rating, it's just going to charge your golf cart a little bit faster, but it's still fine. If it's a lower amp rating, it's going to take it a little longer to charge your golf cart. But just 1 amp off, normally a 48 volt golf cart or is a 48 volt charger for a 48 volt golf cart is a very, very low amp charger. Generally, I think Club Cars was only like a 13 amp charger for many, many years there, before they went to solid state stuff. So that's a pretty powerful charger, both of those, for a 48 volt system. But yeah, you can do that. Nate says it's awesome. It's a Cobra motor. Okay, cool. Harry Fike, hello from Zolfo Springs, Florida. We fared well even though the hurricane went across the northwest part of our county, Hardy County. All right, Harry, thanks for letting me know, man. I don't, have it memorized where everybody is from. I just know I have several people, that show up that are in Florida, so thank you. I'm glad you made it through. Dan Edwards, just jump on. What's going on, Dan Edwards? Thank you for joining us there on Facebook. Number 2. This is from Lee. Relay on the controller board clicks on. The meter reading will move slightly, usually indicates 4 or 5 amps. Transformer warms. Batteries have some charge as the cart will move with the charge indicator pulsing up and down and lights work. Is my problem with PowerWise 2 or the cart? Lee, I'm going to want some battery voltage readings first, because if your battery pack is very, very dead, a charger will do that. When it first comes on, it won't jump way to the right and then drop like it's supposed to. That's normal operation. But if your battery pack is really dead, but it still has enough juice to click the relay in, the needle won't go all the way to the right. It'll just go up a little bit. All right, and then the charger is working really, really hard. You might want to put a fan on it at this point, because it's going to the needle's going to slowly go to the right, and then once it gets to the right, then it's going to slowly drop. After once your batteries get up, if they're still able to be saved. It could be too dead and not be able to be saved, but it's worth a try. You may take a fan in order to let that go through a good cycle, but I would have to really see the actual volt readings on the batteries in order to be, to go into that more with you. I'm going to be the guy that gives Rob Cedar updates on lead acid that sat in a junker outside for 4 years and had 5 volts when I started to try to use them, up to 50 for the pack. I'm hopeful. Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, it's worth a try to get, to save them. Roger F. Greetings from Central Florida. After the eye passed overhead, got power back, but gas is still a scarce commodity. No major damage. Well, thank you, Roger. Thank you for letting us know. I appreciate that. Like I was saying earlier, I don't remember exactly how many people I have in Florida, but I know there's quite a few that come into the chat. So thank you for letting us know. Let's see, let me check on Facebook. Ron Stecker on Facebook, just checking in. Hello, Ron. Thank you for joining us. Dan Edwards, I have a 2003 club car that runs great going forward, but no reverse. The micro switches seem fine. Could it be in the rear end? Dan, are we talking about an electric car or a gas car? I'll come back. I'll come back to you on that. Guess how hard it is to find distilled water in a hurricane zone. Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine. That may be hard to find. Yeah, I would imagine a lot of that shelf water was taken. Number 3 is where I'm at on the regular questions. This is from Pam. I had a high-speed motor installed in my 212 Club Car Precedent. Along with the new motor came a new 400 amp controller and 200 amp solenoid. The question is, shouldn't the solenoid be rated at 400 amps? The shop said did it said it would be fine. But I'm wondering, is this nothing to be concerned about? Yeah, Pam, that's nothing to be concerned about, and the shop is correct. The solenoids are rated for constant. In other words, that solenoid means it'll take 200 amp constant amps. It can take inrushes of over 200 amps, well over that. So yeah, that's very normal for the solenoid to be less than the controller. See, the controller doesn't automatically put 400 amps through the solenoid. That doesn't happen, or to the motor. It doesn't automatically do that. It only is there if the motor needs it, and you probably never even get close to those amp pulls on your motor or your solenoid. So yeah, that's perfectly fine. Is 50.3 full charge an indicator that my pack is getting old? 48 volt RXV. 50.3? No, if it's holding at 50.3, that's not bad. I've seen some hold at about 51, a good pack, but if you really want to know, get a load test done on it, a real discharge test done on it. And depending on how many minutes it does on the discharge tester will give you a good idea of how good a condition your battery pack is on that particular day. Stephen Kuhn, can I use the little 5 amp Chinese golf cart charger to bring up a battery pack for a regular charger? You could try. That's going to be it's going to take a long time with a 5 amp charger to do anything on a golf cart battery. I mean, if it says it's designed for a golf cart batteries, then it's worth a try, because I'm sure that it's not very expensive and it's not going to hurt anything. But all you need to do, Stephen, is monitor your voltage occasionally. Like take a voltage reference reading before you hook it up, and then hook it up, and then come back about an hour later. Take another reference reading and come back maybe another hour later. Make sure that everything is slowly rising. If it is, then you're doing good, but check on the heat on that 5 amp charger too. All Dog bought a 03 48 volt club car project. Supposedly it just needed batteries. You know how many times I've heard that? All Dog, I've heard that thousands of times in my life. Somebody tried to sell me a golf cart. Says, yeah, all it needs is batteries. Well, a lot of times that's true, but a lot of times that's not true. Bought 03 48 volt club car project. Supposedly all it needed was replace batteries and go no click from solenoid when I mash the accelerator pedal. What should I check first? Golf cart newbie. Okay, this 03 48 volt club car project. In 03, does it have a run tow switch under the seat? That'll tell me which electrical system it is. Does it have a run tow switch under the seat? Stephen Kuhn, didn't ask if I could, said I used them for that. Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you're saying, Stephen. Yeah, I misread I thought you said, I misread it as can I use. Yeah, I got you. So, all dog, it does have a run tow switch under the seat, and it's an '03. So that means that it is a DS. It's a DSIQ system, and you got a couple of things in the solenoid activation circuit there on a DSIQ. The reason I know it's not a precedent is because they didn't start precedent until '04. So this is a DSIQ. Two major components that are in the solenoid activation circuit is the M core has a micro switch inside of it, and the controller. The controller is also in the circuit to make the solenoid click. If you don't get the solenoid clicking, the car's never going to run. Let me see where we're at here. Okay, back to Dan Edwards. He has a 2003 club car that runs great going forward, but no reverse. The micro switches seem fine. Could it be in the rear end gas? Okay, what I would do, Dan, is it actually going in reverse, because the lever to switch it in the rear end on a gas club car is on top of the transaxle. You know, you're going to have to look back there and put it in reverse and see if the lever's actually going in reverse. If it is, then you must have a micro switch or something. Like you said, micro switches seem fine, but you got something that's not letting it mechanically shift into reverse. I mean, you need to make sure that it's mechanically going into reverse first. Ron Stecker on a 2006 Western 42 volt series. Want to convert mechanical FNR switch to toggle type. Would this conversion be compatible with a future upgrade to 48 volt lithium and new controller, or maybe even an AC? Does this golf cart have these kits? Well, it depends if you're getting a forward and reverse, if you're getting a dual solenoid forward and reverse that's wired for 42 volts or not. Because if it is for 42 volts, if those solenoids are 42 volts, then it's not going to be compatible when you go to 48. Because those mechanical forward and reverse things are pack specific on voltage, on how they activate. So you'd have to learn about some go-arounds there. I mean, you could wire it to be different. It might be best to go ahead and upgrade to 48. That would make everything simple. Upgrade your whole car to 48 volt first, Ron. Because 42 volt solenoids, activated solenoids, I don't know. That might be hard to find unless you've already found some. David Tony says, we have a lot of people here that try to sell a cart with bad batteries and pass it off as good. Usually they are frozen over from the winter. Yeah, where you're at, yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Dan Edwards, thanks for your response. I'll check that. Yeah, check and make sure that it is mechanically going all the way in reverse on top of the rear end. Yeah. See where I'm at here. David Sukio, I guess, is that how you say that? Susio or Sukio? I'm not sure. Thank you for joining us, David. I have 2002 Club Car Villager 6-seater. Am I limited to only a certain amount of 3 to 4 inch lift kits for my car? Is your 2012 Club Car Village 6-seater based off of a DS cart or a precedent cart? Because yeah, see, those 6-seaters, there's the lift kit, the front of them is the same as a regular cart, and the rear of them is the same as a regular cart. So that's what I'm saying. Your 2012 club car is going to be based off of either a DS club car or a precedent, and that's the lift kits that you would be looking at. Stephen Kuhn, I use 3 12-volt lawnmower batteries in a nylon bag to check. All it needs is batteries cart. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. It's good. It would be good to have a portable 36 volt battery or a portable 48 volt battery, whatever you can. When somebody says all it needs is batteries, then hook it up real quick and and show me. That's what I'd want to see. So I see what you said, Steve, and that's a good idea. If you've got some kind of kit. Hey Tim, Keith, Keith and Chris from Nashville checking in. Cloudy and cool, 58. Thank you, Keith. Put in reverse while rolling forward without the go pedal pressed. Nothing bad happened. It just locked up the rear end. Nothing is broken though. Yeah, that can mess up some stuff, I would think. Rob says his wife saw it last week when I showed his pictures, and she wanted to correct that RXV is hers, not his. Well, I can tell you this, it's kind of similar in my house. My wife just got a new truck. Yeah, and a four-wheel drive truck, and she wanted to make sure everybody knows that that's not my truck. That's her truck. Yeah. Let's see. I think we're caught up there. Caught up there. What's hers is hers, and what's yours is hers. That's correct. Yes. Pretty much. No, I think I'm only on number 4 on the regular questions. This is from Sean. This pertains to the front end. I replaced the shocks. Question, when you replace the shocks, does the spring need to be replaced? I don't know about your cart there, Sean. You didn't give me a lot of information, but I can tell you this, more times than not, the spring getting replaced is way more important than replacing the shocks. The shocks do way less in a golf cart than the springs actually do. So it would probably be more important to replace the spring. But since you've already replaced the shocks, go ahead and replace the spring too. If you're the springs wear out over time. The shocks really hardly ever do anything in a golf cart. Number 5. This is from Adrian. Hi Tim, I have a Yamaha Drive 48 volt and I want to change my old batteries for lithium. Do I need a conversion system or anything else to do so? It just depends, Adrian, what lithium company you go with. We sell eco batteries, we sell eco lithium, and they come as a cart specific set. In other words, you'll get one for a Yamaha Drive. You'll get a specific battery for a Yamaha Drive, so it's guaranteed to fit. You're going to get a charger for that for your new lithium, and it's all the if there's any brackets or mounting brackets for your particular car, that's going to come with it too. So it just depends on which company you go with. Most lithium companies require you to use their proprietary charger for their lithium battery. David Irwin, I'm here. We had a lot of damage. All right, David, tell us where you're located, David. I'm assuming you're in Florida. I can't remember where everybody's from. What part of Florida? You don't got to be real specific, but did you take a direct hit or what? David Sucio says, are spindle lift kits good or bad for a 6-seater? Are the block lift kits the same? If your spindle lift kits are fine, as long as you're doing uh, like asphalt running, and most likely that's what you're doing with a 6-seater. Like I wouldn't recommend spindle lifts for somebody that may be wanting to ride the trails or go to the deer lease or anything like that. But for just riding on asphalt, yes, they're perfectly fine, and it's easier. It's an easier install in the front. The rear is going to be the same, the way that it's installed in the rear, but the front's going to be a real easy install. Greg Elliott, spoken like a judge and her lawyer, Ron. Yeah. David Irwin, sorry. You're next to Tampa. Okay, so you took a really good direct hit there, Dave. Thank you for letting us know. I'm glad you're okay. Bruce, hello all from Westfield, Wisconsin. Okay. Number 6. David says he just got his internet back. The storm killed his garage. Number 6 is from Damien N. Hi, Tim. I have a quick question. Where would the fuse box be located on a 96 Medless gas cart? Thank you. Follow the cable. Let me see. How could you go to the fuse box? Follow the positive cable that leaves the battery. Okay, on your battery you got a negative cable and a positive cable. Follow that positive cable. That should take you to the solenoid, and that your fuses are going to be somewhere around there in that area. That'd be the easiest way to do it, I would think. Ron, I just looked up at my security cameras, and we're getting baseball-sized hail in Anderson, Indiana, right now. Ron? Number 7. Oh, BB, not baseball. I got you. From Joseph B. Does the 6 gauge battery cable work on a Club Car Precedent 2017 with 6 8-volt batteries? Joseph B. Yes, Joseph, that's actually stock battery cable size on a golf cart with 6 8-volt batteries. That's what golf carts come with, is 6 gauge cable. Now, if you're going to lift it and modify your electrical system and soup it up and all that stuff, then you may need to end up getting a larger cable, which would be a lower number, like 4 gauge or 2 gauge. But if your golf cart's just completely stock, 6 gauge is fine. Number 8. This is from Sylvia L. My husband put a lift kit on our Yamaha Drive 2010, and it is squirrely when you hit a bump or dip in the road. Hard to control. What do I need? Replaced shocks on front and back. Okay, I've heard this complaint from a lot of people when they put a lift kit on a Yamaha. Because Yamahas don't use leaf springs, like E-Z-GO and Club Car both have leaf springs. Okay, Yamaha has chosen to do the whole cart with 4 coil-over shocks. And when you put a lift kit on there and you've got these 4 coil-over shocks, the cart tends to be real, you can grab it and sway it back and forth, on those shocks. So they make heavy-duty springs. So my question would be, you said you replaced all 4 shocks. Did you replace them with heavy-duty replacements? Because that's about all you can do. I mean, you can replace the springs that are on your shocks now with some heavy-duty spring. Jake's has them. We sell them at Golf Cart Garage, but they're from Jake's lift kits. Or you can replace the whole shock with the heavy-duty spring. So that would be my question there. Did you when you replaced them, did you do that? David says, any particular lift kit brand that is reliable or that you prefer? Jake's, David, is a very good brand. Jake's is good. Majax is good. And we sell both of those at Golf Cart Garage. So yeah, that would be, you could find you something with either one of those for sure that you could count on. And check over here. Looks like we're good on there. All dog. Also on my on my '03, it has something mounted behind the batteries, about 2 foot long. One big wire going to ground, then two small wires, red and black. What is that? Maybe a reducer. That's exactly right, all dog. That's a voltage reducer. That's what that is. That's where your if your car has lights or something on it, that's where it's connected to. That's where that's what's powering your lights, because it's not tapped across. Is it tapped across your whole battery pack, or is it hooked to somewhere in the middle of your battery pack? Because it sounds like you're describing one of those voltage reducers that's maybe a 16 to 12 volt reducer or something like that. They mount them in between the frame rail, in between the I-beam, aluminum I-beam usually. Ron says his club car got squirrely after the lift, and he did an alignment and put wheel adapter spacers on the front and more cured the problem. Cool. Joe Foster, hello Tim, running late, good day. What's going on, Joe Foster? Thank you for joining us. Yeah, so that's not a full, what kind of car did you tell me? Oh, it's 48 volt 48 volt DSIQ. Okay, so that reducer is not reducing the whole pack. It's reducing, it's only designed to reduce maybe 16 to 12 or something else. So it's not hooked to your whole pack. It should say it's on there probably. Looks like we're good there. Number 9. Number 9 is from Martin. I have a 2012 Club Car Precedent 48. The cart will buck after around 15 to 16 holes of play. The batteries test at 8.3 volts each. 8.3 volts each after a round before charging. What do you think is the problem? Number 9 from Martin. Well, this is one of those examples where I'm going to want to see the voltage at the time it's bucking. That's when you need to see the voltage so we can figure out what's going on. But the fact that it doesn't start until after 15 or 16 holes, that kind of makes me think right off the bat that you've got a battery dropping out. And it would be very easy to find it if you started looking at voltages while it was bucking. In other words, if you had a voltmeter hooked to the battery and you make it buck, you'd be able to find which battery it is. And depending on how old your batteries are, you might be able to just replace that one battery and fix your problem. But if your batteries are over a certain age, you'd have to think about that decision. Okay, Sir Walter, my 05 DS has 6/8 and no reducer. Lights are across 2 batteries for 16 volts and are still good since 2005. Are they halogen lights, Sir Walter, or are they LED lights? Some lights aren't as voltage, some types of lights aren't as voltage sensitive as others. If you run halogens on 16 volts, they will work. They will work, but they're really, really bright and they're not going to last forever like that. But they will work. And if you just occasionally use your light, sometimes you can get away with that for a long period of time. So if they're not LED, that's probably what it is. You probably got halogens. Are they extremely bright on 16 volts? It's just it will reduce their life, is what I'm saying. I understand you said it's been on there a long time. I don't know if you could have some lights that maybe that have a built-in reducer that's causing them to be able to be hooked across 16. Okay, Ron Stecker. From a 2014 RXV, someone said lithium conversions have trouble because the amp hour rating is too low or the battery BMS is not rated for enough amps. Agree, is the BMS rating typically documented for lithium batteries? Yes, it is typically documented. And I'm not sure. So you can get different amp hour rating batteries, Ron. So you want to make sure that you don't get the lowest. You know that they make some batteries as low as 50 amp hours. You know, a single lithium replacement battery as low as 50 amp hours. There's a lot of packs out there 60 amp hours. Those small packs like that are only designed to be replacement packs for a stock golf cart that will give you the same amount of performance as a full lead acid, not really gain any kind of performance. You want to step up when you're going to do lithium, in my opinion, to do at least 105 amp hour. To me, that's a good middle ground, 105 amp hour. That way you've got room, and the BMS, make sure the BMS is rated high enough. And it will be on a 105 amp hour pack. It might not be on a 50 amp hour pack, but a 105 amp hour pack, the BMSs should be rated high enough that you're not going to have any problems. The only reason that you would have problems with lithium conversions in any golf cart, including RXV, is if you got too small of a battery pack. That's really the main reason that you would get in too small of therefore the BMS having too small of a discharge rating. So if you want to get the middle ground, 105 amp hour or larger is what I would recommend. Okay. We sell, Sir Walter, we have a Magix light kit that does come with a built-in reducer. We got a gas-powered club car that keeps getting gas in the oil when it sits for a long time. Thought it might be fuel pump, but vacuum line is dry. We replaced the carb twice already also. That's where I was going to go, Bruce, that if the needle and seat in the carburetor is not closing completely, when you shut the car off, the needle and seat is open a little bit and will allow the fuel in the bowl to seep through and get into the cylinder, therefore going down the cylinder and end up in your oil. You know, the gasoline would end up in your oil. So that I was gonna say carb, or you know, specifically needle and seat, because there shouldn't be any reason you would be getting there in there. Ron says your carb may be running too rich and it's allowing flooded fuel into the cylinder as it sits. Yeah, and gets past the ring on the piston. Yeah, there you go. Let me check Facebook. David Tony says a RXV needs to have a battery that can support high charging amps as well as discharge. Oh, okay, but yeah, because of the region. Yeah, see, anytime you order back to you, Ron. Anytime you order a lithium battery for a region cart, the company, the lithium company that you're buying from, They need to know that. You need to ask them what you need to do as far as your region goes, or if it's going to handle the fact that your car has regenerative braking. And in your case, it does. So they may want you to have that programmed out before they, you know, to cause you not to have any problems. That might be the problems that you're hearing about, is not necessarily just RXV problems, but region cars in general, regenerative braking cars in general. All right, Rich Eastman, I have 4 100 amp lithiums, each with a 100 amp BMS. These bats are not recommended by the manufacturer for carts, but I've had them for 8 months. I pull 120 amps for a second under acceleration, and then about 50 amps at 20 miles per hour. '06 club car. All right, that's cool. That's what I was saying, Ron, Rich. 100, 105 amp, you know, is more popular or is readily available than a 100 amp for golf cars, but you made yours yourself, so you put yours together yourself. So I understand what you're saying there. But yeah, 100 amp, 105 amp, if you can get one right in that area, I wouldn't go smaller than that. It wouldn't be worth it. If you're going to go lithium, you want to reap all the benefits and rewards of going lithium. So if you're going to go lithium, you know. That's the way I look at it. I need a rebuild with oversized ring. Galactic has great compression. Thinking we got in a bad batch of carburetors. That could be true too. See Nate talking about oil. He asked, is it pronounced? I actually did see that, Craig. That comedian guy. What was it on? He was on Saturday Night Live talking about oil and oil. Yeah, I definitely do not say oil, but apparently some people do. I guess he's a comedian. Okay. For my wife's car, I will be getting a proper 48 volt battery with one BMS. Then I don't have to be concerned with keeping the batteries balanced. Yeah, that's a good thing about having, you know, the single battery, is that the BMS is keeping everything balanced for you instead of having them in series. Yeah, Dakota Lithium actually at one point they were selling for golf carts. They would sell you the series, the lithiums like what you're doing in series, and you hook them in series just like your other batteries. But then they quit. They ended up having some balance issues, and they quit recommending those for golf cars. And they have a single battery pack that they recommend. I'm glad my internet's holding up today because I am on my regular internet. I'm going to be doing some experimenting. I'm always experimenting with different internets. I actually have Starlink internet that I have never tried to use for this show because of the amount of strength, because of the 2 platforms and the amount of bandwidth I need. The numbers weren't quite good enough on Starlink for me to have tried it yet to do the show, but Elon just launched a whole bunch of new satellites that he claims that is going to increase the bandwidth even more. So I'm constantly checking on that. So if it does, and I can do everything on this show from Starlink, that's going to open up a lot of possibilities for me. I might be able to do this from any location where I'm at because I have portable Starlink. It would be cool if that turns out to be true. So, well, I know he did launch the satellites. I know that's true because I saw a video of it, but I haven't run any speed tests on the Starlink and see if it's improved yet. number 10, be the last regular question. Number 10 from Antonio. Hey Tim, I have a 1998 Yamaha G19 golf cart. I would like to know if 20 by 10 by 8 or 20 by 10 by 10 tires will fit without a lift. I also have no problem trimming fenders if needed. Thank you for any advice. Antonio. Well, stock golf cart tire height, from the ground to the top is 18 inches. And by the way, they're never exact 18 inches, but it's going to be close to 18 inches. All right. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to put something that's just taller, 1 inch taller, and 1 inch going down on the bottom. It's just that 1 inch on top that might come into play. So therefore, you got 1 inch in the front, you got 1 inch in the rear, and when you turn, you could end up with a rubbing issue. I wouldn't be as concerned with cutting the fenders out as I would be a rubbing issue. So what you need to do is, what you could do, this is what I've done this before, but I have made some makeshift wheel spacers out of wood. Like, you don't want to go out and buy wheel spacers. Wheel spacers may solve your whole problem, even if your tire does rub. But you're getting close, on a Yamaha with trying to put 20s under there. You may or may not be able to. But if you wanted to try it, make you some wheel spacers and then add you some inches to the top of your tire with something, like wrap your tire in something to get 1 inch taller and 1 inch coming out of the bottom. And then, that would be the only way you could tell for sure. Well, I don't know if that made sense or not, but you're going to have to, there's no way that I can answer that question yes or no, is what I'm saying. You're kind of going to have to do some experimenting yourself to see if it's going to work. Seems kind of off. One car, just looking every time you connect the fuel hose, is it possible you've been getting a tiny bit of debris on the needle? Yeah, see, I always go toward the needle when I get gas in the fuel. It's running good. It fills crankcase about half quart of gas and it sits for a long time. Most cases, it's a bad carb allowing it to go past. Craig, I'm actually working on the batteries. The batteries in my drag cart are old, and they're going out on me. So I need to replace it with a lithium with a high BMS, a really high BMS. That's what I need to do, because it's got AGMs in it, and they're slowly. I think I just discovered 2 more bad ones. What time zone are you in? Just curious if we're in the same time zone. I was looking at your time slots available. It's 1:47 p.m. here in North Georgia. It's 12:47 here, dog. I'm in Central Time Zone. Stephen Coon says he uses T-Mobile internet. I have that also. Hotspot for my portable applications. T-Mobile hotspot for portable. Yep. So far, my T-Mobile home internet works great. But I can see the tower, and the T-Mobile home internet is tower specific. So in other words, it locks to one tower, and that's it. You can't take it with you. I'm sure you know that. That's why you have to use a hotspot. Just run some fuel out before reconnecting hose to carb. New carb. Yes on fuel filter. Ron Sticker, confused about BMS size. Is the BMS rating equal to the continuous battery discharge current, or is it something else? I believe, if I understand your question, it's the same. It is equal to the continuous battery discharge current, or is it something else? Well, the higher the BMS rating, the more of a hit your batteries can take. Like in racing, it would be the 60-foot hit, because in racing, when you stomp the gas or the accelerator pedal, your batteries are the biggest hit is going to be in the first 60 foot. That's where your voltage is going to drop. That's where your amps are going to surge, is in the first 60 foot. So the higher the BMS rating, the less likely your battery is to be shut down because of a safety factor. And that's what the BMS will do. If your BMS rating is not high enough, your BMS it'll shut those batteries down if you start putting too much of a strain on them. Well, that is good, but there is possibility of debris in the fuel line itself breaking free as you push it on the hose bar on the carb, little bits of the fuel line. Put an inline fuel shut off carb, so when you're done, you shut it all the way off. You know it's going to sit for a while. Ron, that's what I do on my motorcycles that have a petcock on them. I mean, I like that little one there. I shut it off every time I stop, just to make sure that the fuel is shut off. I've always thought that was a good idea to shut the fuel off. Uh, I used lead acid in the drag cart because at the time when I was doing that, it was lithium was very, very expensive. I mean, way more expensive than it is now. And my lead acid pack is not as heavy as you think because I'm using small 12s. I'm not using big 12s. There's actually, it's wired for 48 volts right now, but there's 12 batteries in there. It's got 12 batteries. 12 lead acid, but they're small. When you start trying to figure out your lead acid pack, you start dealing with what we used to call power to weight ratio rating, and that would be the weight of the battery plus the amount of discharge amps that it's capable of pushing in the first 6 seconds, because that's the most important part. So anyway, it was a big deal that you don't have to worry about that anymore with lithium. But if you're going with if you're trying to race with lead acid, you got a lot of weight and power issues to deal with there, and lots of people have different opinions on the best kind of pack. Well, I've got 3 48 volt packs in there basically in parallel, and that's just the way it's wired now. But I can either do that, or I can wire it for two 36 volt packs in series to make 72 volt with 12 batteries, or it can be a straight string all the way across in series at 144 volts. So I don't even have to change my battery pack. I just got to change wiring around for 3 different voltage classes. That's a whole nother show there. I mean, but I start talking about that and it gets real deep. But that's a whole show. We could talk about that. But yeah, with lithium now, back then, basically the answer to your question was lithium was just way too expensive back then for me. And if I was to do it again, I could drop a lithium in there and go break every one of my records. I could go break every one of my times just by dropping a lithium in there. I'd bust my 144 volt time easily. I'd bust my 72 volt time easily, and my 48 volt time would be down in the 10s instead of the low 11s. There's no doubt about it. Okay, that looks like that was the last regular question. Title of this episode was 200 amp solenoid, and that was because of that question that the lady asked about the controller being 400 amp and the solenoid being only 200 amp. Well, 200 amp solenoid can handle an inrush of amps well over 200 amps for a short period of time. So that's what that was about. Let me run the social media links again. Remember to give us a thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe if you haven't already, Facebook and YouTube, but you can also follow us on these other platforms. Siphoning down. Yeah, that's a good point, Bruce. Things can happen to gas cars when you lift them that they didn't really, anticipate, like that motor angle. When you lift a gas car, it can change the motor angle. I've heard a lot of people that ended up with oil in the wrong places in their motor, and they had to decrease the amount of oil because the angle of the motor has changed and oil is getting into places that it's not supposed to. So yeah. Yeah, I always use the gas shutoff valve on any kind of engine that has one. And if you end up with problems, that may be a fix. All right. If you'd like to buy a hat from Golf Cart Garage, you are welcome to. There they are. There's some links in the description that'll take you right to them. We give away hats on this channel occasionally. We got one coming up. I'm not sure exactly when it will be. I think I'll be announcing it next time, but we're not. But I'll let you know a week in advance when we're going to give away a hat. But you can go there to buy one if you would like, if you can't wait, and take your chance on winning. If you'd like to contact us at Golf Cart Garage, you can. Here's the info. Support@golfcartgarage.com is the email address. There's the phone number. If you would like to give us some suggestions, tell us how we're doing, you're welcome to do that. We appreciate all feedback. I don't have any pictures today. If you're, like I was saying before, if you have any, if you're thinking about lithium, you might want to check into the Eco line of lithium batteries that we sell at Golf Cart Garage. They're 10% off right now, across the board. So it's already factored in the price, 10% off. $200 amp solenoid info definitely answers some questions for me. Thanks, Tim. Not a problem, John. Maybe use a vacuum operated fuel valve so you don't have to reach for the valve every time. Give this guy a thumbs up. Thank you, John. Craig, you too. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Okay, coupon. Run my coupon. Get 5% off any parts you order at golfcartgarage.com if you use coupon code TIM25, TIM25. This code expires on October the 24th, 2024. So we've got a week or so left on that. So use that coupon code. I like to hear about when you use that coupon code. For current pictures on Facebook Messenger. All right, cool, Ron. Also, when you go to golfcartgarage.com, look for, like I said, the Eco line of lithiums are 10% off. Look for the words garage sale, because there's a garage sale going on at Golf Cart Garage, believe it or not. And you might find some deals in the garage sale. So look through there, see if there's anything you might be interested in. Also, double take products have sales going on. They are up to 15% off. So anything double take. All right, guys. Looks like I made it through another episode with my regular internet. So they're not getting ditched quite yet. But we are going to do some Starlink testing and see if that's possible. And I will keep you updated on that. All right. Let me check Facebook before we get out of here. Ron on Facebook, that's a good question, but the answer is no. What they had to do in racing for lithium, now this is if you're involved in the NEDRA, which is the National Electric Drag Racing Association. If you're going to be involved in that, then lithium guys have to, every class is classed by voltage, but the reason, the fact that you're asking that, you know that lithium can be charged up a little bit higher. So lithium guys have to actually have a burn-off plan in order to fit their voltage class. In other words, you can't pull up in the 48 volt racing class. There's a range that you can, if you're in 48 volt class, there's a range. It's somewhere between 48 volts and 52 or something like that. Well, if you had lithium in your car, you could show up at the starting line on 55 volts or something like that. See, that would, you can't race in the 48 volt class if you do that. So you've got to burn voltage off in order to get it down to a certain range. So when you pull up, your voltage is checked, and otherwise you're cheating. You're supposed to, if you're running 58 volt, I don't remember exactly what the range is, but if you go to the NEDRA site, you'll see what I'm talking about. So everybody is classed by voltage. It doesn't matter if it's lithium, lead acid, or what. Classed by voltage. Okay, Helpless Garage. Catch y'all next week. Yep, I'll see everybody next week. Thank everybody for showing up. I appreciate it. I will see everyone next week, and we will do this all over again. All right, garage is now closed.